Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it's our book chart segment. You know, we do this every Thursday right here on our artsy edition of the show. With me is Precious Imuwahen Ajoonu. She is the author of the book, The Hero Inside. We'll have that hero inside us. And well, this book is yet to, uncover and reveal like an onion peel, just layer after layer, unwrap that hero till it springs forth. And that's what this book is here to do. You're welcome to the show, Precious.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now let's talk about the book, The Hero Inside. It's your first book.
It is.
And what inspired this book?
I think I've been a learning and development expert for 15 years, and I've worked across 30 different countries. And I think I started to see, especially when you're training leaders, that there's some things that behaviors you can codify.
Okay.
You'll be surprised how similar we are in terms of the challenges that we face. And whether you're Nigerian, whether you're American, people want to be able to conquer self. People want to become more self-aware. People have questions around fear, for example. All of that, and I thought, okay, I need to put some of the lessons that I've learned, that have worked for me, in a book, because often people will ask me when I go for these programs, do you have a book? Well, where's your book? Where can we find your book? So now I have a book, so very excited. That's what inspired me.
Oh, that's interesting. Making impacts with your book. With your journey, with your experience, and then putting it into a book. So I'm just going to read out chapter 1 because there's something about it, just as you are, just as, you open the book. It says here, have you ever wondered why you were born? Now, that is a question for you. That's $1 million question. How many of us have ever pondered on why are you born? Why are you on earth? Why are you here? Why were you born? Is there a creator? Oh, that's another interesting question. Okay, so talk to us about, so it begins, the journey. That's basically, taking us through. The first chapter basically talked about your childhood, your relationship with your parents, questions that sort of, rummaged through your mind as a child. Talk to us about, this particular chapter.
I think for me, it was, I write about it in my book. I was about 5 or 6 when I became conscious of the fact that I was a thinking being, and that I could think and I could make decisions, etc. And it started with a debate. I chronicle it in my book, where I'd won a debate against a boy, and I remember his father saying, "Oh, how can a girl win in a debate?" And I didn't even know anything about the gender debates, for example. But I was thinking, when I go into the ring, I practice more than anybody else. So why would anyone assume that just because I'm a girl, for example, I'm not supposed to? So I realized very early that I'm a thinking being, and I became curious about what is it that is within me that thinks, who is the person that thinks? There's a person interacting with you, and then there's the internal environment as well. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about becoming. I know there's a Michelle Obama book, Becoming.
There is.
Yeah. I think there's also Viola Davis book, also talked about something around becoming as well. Why is that word becoming such a word, that, resonates with people when it comes to developing themselves as humans?
I think every human being wants to feel at home with themselves, right? What is it that we're all chasing? We want to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and feel some sort of peace.
Yeah.
And I write about it from the narrative of a coming of age perspective. How would you feel? What does it mean to become? What does it mean to be part of a community? What does it mean to belong? Because after that, I talk about belonging. What does it mean to belong to yourself? What does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be you? What's unique about us? What are the things that we should amplify? And what are the things that we should look at the mob, that's everybody else in the world, and say, you know what, they're going in that direction. This is the direction I want to go in. So, yeah, it's about you coming into self. And I think, because I have teenagers reading this book, and I get some of the best feedback from them, And because they naturally are going through their becoming phase, where they're now finding out about themselves, getting into puberty, there's a lot of questions that that chapter elicits
Does
to them.
for them. That's fantastic. The fear illusion. I think this is one chapter that sort of, it resonates with everyone because is fear really an illusion?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
when one of the things with my book is that it will provoke thinking. Somebody said it was not the regular book. It's not. In fact, I'm actually very surprised that it's generated the kind of conversations because I didn't expect everybody to get it. And the fact that people get it, I'm like, okay, great. Fear is an illusion and not. So for example, if a snake was to run into the studio, we have every right to be afraid and
Yes.
terrified. However, most of the times, the things that we're afraid of in our minds, they don't exist. I remember the first time I was to train, I wasn't told that I was training directors from different countries. I wasn't told. And then I would walk into this place. I thought it was the regular training. And then I would find that there were at least 15 different nationalities represented there. And there were top executives in the multinational. I
Okay.
panicked. And in that moment, I was actually thinking to myself that maybe the world should just end.
Wow.
Yeah, like it would be a good time if we had the rapture so that at that point, my fear was illusory because I felt like I couldn't. But the minute I confronted it, I not only finished that course, I ended up, they called me back and they took me around the world doing training for them.
Wow.
But if I listened to that
So
fear,
that
I would
fear you would
never
never
have done
have.
it. That's my point.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up with this. Your truth will always seek true expression, and there is a better way to deal with fear than suppressing it. So deal with it, don't deny it. The challenge is in denying it. The problem is in denying it. But the minute you identify it, you acknowledge it,
Yeah.
you accept it, it's easier to deal with it. Thank you so much,
Thank you for having
Precious.
me.
Your book, The Hero Inside, I think it's a must read for everyone, and mostly apt for the teenagers because it's at that critical point in their lives where they're going through, they're making life-changing decisions. And I'll say this book, it's a must-have, definitely. Thank you so much, Precious, for sharing your gifts with the world,
Thank
and wishing you all the best in your future projects.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. We'll go on a quick break, people. The show continues shortly. Stay with us. We'll be right back.